This is another edition of the Senior Class. Today, Brad sits down with Woody Madison for a discussion on innovation in the construction industry, specifically related to field personnel. Enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Brad Humphrey, and this is another podcast for the Senior Class. Today I have a really exciting guy. And Woody, it's so good to have you here. You and I have just really met just in the last 6 months, I think.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. And Woody came to me ahead of time with a little bit of reputation. He is one of the most innovative guys that I've been around in construction. He's actually doing something about it. And Woody, I just thought in this session we would just have some fun freelancing a little bit about the importance of innovation. The reason I say that, and I'd like for you to address that as well from your perspective. So many things in construction sort of gets dried up. We do the same old thing. You know, I mean, in theory, we're not doing a whole lot different in one sense with concrete, and yet in another way, we're doing a lot of things different with concrete, right?
Right.
So sure. give us a little background on you, and why is innovation such a big deal for you?
So I've been in construction 20 years now. Worked up, through being an apprentice, journeyman, then up through actually the position of general superintendent and safety director for a company. Yeah, so we do these tasks every single day, and you kind of get wore out after a while. And what I found the best thing to do is you walk around and ask the guys how their day is going, and ask them what they're doing, and ask them what sucks about it. And these guys will tell you, I really love doing this, but you know what? I'm so sick of using this thing right here because it's not working right.
Right.
So then you ask them how to make it better, and they come up with a way to make their process better. So we're finding that innovation is kind of it's been around forever. Everyone does it, but we're trying to make ourselves more aware now of what it means and how to be innovative as a company. So there's a lot of good things out there, and it's weird trying to talk to you and have a microphone here, but yeah, it's you look at something that you do day after day and ask yourself why you're doing it that way.
Yeah.
And how can you make it better?
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I've found, Woody, just a little bit I know about you, background from other people, is, you don't really use the word no very often
right.
in terms of development, and anything's a possibility, right?
Right.
And I think you got to have that as a part of your creative mindset.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, think outside the box. There's no dumb ideas. I mean, you might think that something is a really stupid idea, but if you say it out loud, someone might interpret what you're saying differently, and that might steer off to a different direction, and it's actually a brilliant idea. So, a lot of it is, it's the guys in the field doing the work.
Yeah.
If you have a committee that's trying to be innovative, not much is going to come out of it.
Without going into the details, because obviously we're not going to show prints and that kind of stuff, because you can't do that on audio. Mm-hmm. But, you've got an interesting thing you created, a real simple thing for blankets.
Right.
How did that come about? I mean, tell if you can tell a little bit what it is, just to give an example of the creativity. We don't need to give all 30 examples. I mean, you've got a ton of stuff you've done, but give us that one, because that's a pretty simple one.
Right. So blankets for covering concrete decks or columns in the wintertime, or walls for that matter. Every single time we cover walls or something, you end up rolling these blankets up, these big concrete blankets, and you put a tie wire around them or two. And, it's just tedious work, and it doesn't make sense. So sometimes, we used to build these temporary blanket racks out in the field, lumagangs on their sides with some handrails basically, and just slide the blankets on there. Then at the end of the project, you roll them back up, and then you put them in a semi and send them back to the yard. Well, we started meeting with our foreman to ask them how to make things better. Mm-hmm. And what do you guys think about everything we do? And everyone across the board is, why can't we make blanket racks that stay together? So we make these racks that are 6 feet by 30 feet long, and we put a corrugated metal deck in the bottom. And they're able to just pull the blankets on the rack, and each rack has its own rigging and its own ratchet straps, and we don't have to roll up blankets anymore. And the guys love it, but they've been talking about this for years, and nobody ever took the initiative to actually take it to the next level and make them. So we made a dozen of these racks, and they're super efficient, and
the guys are using them.
The guys are using them, and they feel important because it was their idea.
Let me stop you just a moment, because I love that example. When you looked at that, I know it made it easier for the foreman and his guys, right? Certainly. Right. Was there? Do you think in terms of cost savings, time savings? Because a lot of times companies will talk about new ideas, but unless there is some kind of a sure proof saving, return on investment, as it's called. They're not always excited about that. How did that come about? And was it really? Were we just lucky? Were we using this more as a way to make it easy on our guys, or does it actually save time when they're bringing those blankets down?
Right. Well, what I explained to the executives when they found out I built all these without permission is, I explained to them the process of covering a deck. So you pour this concrete deck in the wintertime. You're pouring from 7 a.m. until maybe noon or 2 in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. By the time you get the concrete finished and it's cured enough to cover it, you're on overtime hours. So why are we flying up, 10 picks of rolled up blankets and then unrolling them and covering the deck with them? Where now it's one radio call down to one pick, and they have 100 blankets, so they can cover a 15,000 square foot deck with one crane pick.
Wow.
And no unrolling and rolling blankets. It's just pull them off and weight them down. And on the side of these blanket racks, there's actually a tray for the rebar that holds them down.
Wow.
So when they realized, there might not be a hard number that we're saving up front to project, but when you look at, not only is it going to save us many hours, it's also overtime hours, and it's wear and tear on the guy's body. So you look at these poor guys that are on their hands and knees now the next morning.
Right.
The very first half hour of their day, they're soaking wet from rolling blankets up.
Yeah.
We take all of that out of the equation. So not only are we saving time from rolling the blankets, but we're being more productive on the next task that we have to accomplish. So
I think it's a great idea. That's a good example. And again, my point in letting you share that one, A, it's pretty simple. Mm-hmm. B, it's really something that almost any GC or self-performing concrete company that does that kind of work, uses blankets, would be able to benefit from. You just said something, a few moments ago, which I don't think the listeners probably missed, but you said, something that along the lines of, I use the term better to ask for forgiveness than permission. A lot of things that I see, though, as a consultant, Woody, when I'm around the country, a lot of things that do get improved upon sometimes did happen because somebody just kind of pushed forward. This isn't about insubordinating your senior leadership team, but there's just things that may be going on in the field that they're either not privy to, don't really care about hearing about, but want to see something better.
Oh, right.
And so you got to have the initiative to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, if the executives of your company get asked 1,000 times about things, they're going to get bogged down.
Yeah.
So if you can strategically find those things that make sense, push forward as far as you can, and then let them know what you're doing in the field without causing too many waves, it's a big plus. But, they're going to appreciate the energy. They like the energy. They like when things are being changed for the better, and yeah, they don't want to be asked 1,000 times, So little things like that, like we call it the low-hanging fruit. Adding a 6-inch piece of chain to one of our devices is going to save us, $1,000 a year easily from lost productivity. So, if you have to go searching for a $2 piece when you have a 5-man crew sitting there versus chain it onto that piece so you don't have to search for it.
Exactly.
It's little things like that. Like, find the hiccup in your day, and how can you take that hiccup out? It's kind of like with our prefab division. We tried prefabbing interior walls. You just can't prefab them and haul all that air to the job site faster than you can frame it in the field. But we're finding there's a section of the wall that has the door in it with the wood blocking. Yeah. So you prefab the wood blocking with the framing that goes above it, and you took out the slow part of your day, and you increased your productivity across the board. So it's all that little low-hanging fruit. Just grab onto that and rip it off the tree, and then the tree will start shaking and more ideas will come off of it.
Let me summarize a couple things before we bring it to a close. First of all, a couple of things is, get out of the box. And when you say get out of the box, a lot of times construction guys think that, well, I can't do that. Let's just we got to get the building built. We got to get the foundation poured. We got to get the walls poured. We got to get the columns poured. But what you're saying is the low-hanging fruit is get out of the box by looking at the littlest things that guys stumble over that are either inconvenient or time wasters, for sure, or both. Right. Certainly anything that's unsafe, we've got to make some improvements on, for sure. But certainly do that. The other thing is not necessarily wait until you get the invitation to try something. Mm-hmm. Try that. Now, again, be careful how you do that. you may want to try some experimenting on the side, maybe to try something out if you're going to build something or build some kind of a, like you just talked about with, even putting a little chain with the tool on there so it's not going anywhere,
right.
disappearing. I find that true a lot of times on job sites where guys are borrowing tools back and forth, and then pretty soon no one puts them back where they're supposed to go anyway, so we're off in the running there. Is there anything else you would encourage any foreman, any superintendent or owner about just the power of creative thinking and innovation?
Yeah, I mean, engage your guys. Your guys are brilliant. They're out there working hard for your company, and I mean, they care. They want to go home after a good day's of work, safely, and feel like they're a part of it. Especially with millennials now, trying to make them feel a bigger part of the construction force. I mean, we're going to have labor shortages. We need young guys that know how to do construction, so we have to teach them, and we have to listen to them if they might have an idea. So, yeah, engage your guys and make them feel like they're a bigger part of the picture, and you'll get a lot for your return.
I love it. Well, this has been another seasoned, kind of one of our season series here on the senior class. And Woody, we appreciate your brief time here with us and creativity. I think it's going to inspire a lot of contractors. Have a good day and put some of these practices to work.
Thank you for listening to the senior class. If you're interested in being a guest on the show or to receive information on how Pinnacle Development Group can work with you and your company, please contact us at colby@pinnacleccid.com or find our contact information at www.pinnacledg.com.